All right. And let's quiet our mind for a second. And let's go ahead and set our motivation for today's class. Recalling and refocusing, and set the motivation and ask yourself why you're here today. So let's go ahead and does everybody have the regular standard prayer? Okay. Just trying to open this. Okay. First, we try to open our Manjushri. Yes, the one on your camera. Because we are now more so going to quote some of the verses of the Buddha and some profound masters, and so we'll ask the blessings of Manjushri to give us the blessings of understanding the text, understanding what you hear, and be able to take it home and make it a reality. Okay? So this is going to be in English, and so we just recite it all together. Obeisance to my Guru and Protector Manjushri, who holds at his heart a scriptural text, symbolic of his seeing all things as they are, whose intelligence shines forth as the sun, unclouded by delusions or traces of ignorance, who teaches in 60 ways with the loving compassion of a father for his only son. All creatures caught in the prison of samsara, confused in the darkness of their ignorance, overwhelmed by their suffering, you, whose dragon-like, thunder-like proclamation of Dharma arouses us from the stupor of our delusions and free us from the iron chains of our karma, who wields the sword of wisdom, hewing down suffering wherever its sprouts appear, clearing away the darkness of ignorance. You, who have been pure from the beginning, who have completed the stages, achieving the highest perfection of a bodhisattva, whose princely body is adorned with the 112 marks of a Buddha. I bow down to you, Manjushri, Om Arapatsanadi, a compassionate one with the brilliance of your wisdom. Illuminate the darkness enclosing my mind, enlighten my intelligence and wisdom, so that I may gain insight into Buddha's words and the texts that explain it. Thank you. And now gonna chant in Tibetan on page 1, twice in the red Tibetan. You just follow, and then one in English. Sangye Shodam Tsokki Tsoknam La Jang Chu Bardu Daji Kyab Suchi Daji Jin Soy Gipe Sonam Gi Drola Penshye Sangye Drobar Shoy Sangye Shodam Tsokki Tsoknam La Jangchu Bardu Dagji Kyab Suchi Dagji Jin Soy Gipe Sonam Gi Drola Penshir Sangye Drobar Joy. I go for refuge until I am enlightened, and to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of practicing giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech and mind, and present clouds of every offering, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the great awakening. This ground, anointed with perfume, flowers strewn, Mount Meru, 4 lands, sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachments, aversion and ignorance, friends, enemies and strangers, my body, wealth and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the 3 poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalaka Niyatayami. Okay. Let's set aside our prayers. We need them again later. Okay. So we continue on what we're learning over the weeks and almost now many months. The topic today is, of course, it's a big one, as big as the other one, which is taking refuge, right? So before we dive into this new step now, or moving forward into the path, I would like to just make sure that everyone is comfortable and they're understanding this, because the purpose of these teachings is not to just give you, or what the text is saying, but to make sure that anyone who really would practice, or what is practice, and making sure that we are on the same path or the same line. If you have any questions, any confusions, I really much would like to discuss that with you if needed, okay? Because I would say, let's not waste time. Just because you're coming here doesn't mean that the Dharma can 100% help you. You've got to have to chew and digest it. Okay, this is so, and I wish that you don't want, or you don't wish waste your time, and your coming here is full of effort, full of energy, and when it comes to wisdom, the teachings of the Buddha, you need to have the mind, and and if you're having difficulty understanding things because it's, then it's worth of questioning. This is the class that gives you that option. I'd like you to discuss things and making sure that, what we're referring to is something that you understand. And then understanding is one. How can you practice something you don't understand? Okay, so practice is nothing without understanding. And the teaching of the Buddha is basically because we study, so that's what we're here for. So refuge, we are very clear about refuge, right? Why we took refuge, and what are the benefits of the refuge, and why this is so important, and over and over and over you have to take refuge. You see what we pray? Before we even dive into the Dharma, what do? We take refuge. So are we clear about the eight steps before, right? About, the common practices. We have the individual practices of refuge, the things that you need to do and not do about the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, right? Just clarifying this because there might be some, when we were guessing, please don't, when you're taking refuge, it's because you are really sure you are taking refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. No one else. And so I think I'm going to ask you to lower the volume.
This one?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
That one?
Yep.
Yeah. Hello.
No matter.
We'll try. It's like it's vibrating. Okay, so we're happy about that. Everyone here is really in tune to that, right? Yeah, and we know, because sometimes for a long time maybe we step off the path, and then you come back again and say, you know what, this time I'm gonna make it more serious now. Take refuge. Okay, go to Sifu. Reset your vows, okay, your precepts. How many precepts do you have? What's the vows? For late? 5. Do we know this 5? What is, we gotta have to name it.
No killing.
No killing.
No stealing.
No stealing.
No lying. No sexual
No wrong livelihood, sex misconduct.
sexual misconduct, no lying. Yeah, all the lying and all that. And then what's the last one? This is for the precepts of the what? For the lay people, right? What's the last one? Do not take intoxicants. This is very important. It's the same thing that over and over. These are your vows, okay? These are your vows until the end of this lifetime. Yeah, it's good to just remember them. Yeah, okay. So, now, last Wednesday. Now I try to, I know everybody, Sunday people is different from Wednesday people. But sometimes there are classes on Wednesdays that really are important in the practice. Like we've talked about the self and emptiness already. Last Wednesday we started, okay? I know it has been 3 days and I'm sure there might a lot of questions after the emptiness class, right? About the self, right? But we understand that the main purpose of today's class is basically link that, okay? Because we are now what? We are now moving to the training of the path of beings of greater capacity. Okay, remember? In the Lamrim teaching, Lama Tsongkhapa, okay, have of all the 84,000 discourses of the Buddha, he just, he went ahead and made it so well organized for us to understand that the teaching of the Buddha is basically, is divided into 3, okay? The teachings of the lower capacity, okay? The middling capacity, and then the greater capacity. We already have talked about the lower, right? That the focus of the lower capacity is basically the impeccable practice of discipline, okay? The middling capacity, what is that? Well, the discipline versus the first capacity is what? People who practice high discipline, okay, in order to liberate themselves from suffering. Okay? What is the middling capacity? Are the practitioners that also practice high discipline, but, okay, wish not only to liberate themselves, but to liberate themselves, okay, from samsara. Okay? Alright, that's middling. It's not the, and then the last one is what? The practitioners that trains in the higher capacity, that is the Mahayana vehicle. What is a Mahayana practitioner? Yeah, is the first thing is we have to have an impeccable discipline. Remember the 10 disciplines, okay? The virtuous actions, the 10 virtuous actions, the 3 to abandon, and then the 3 what to engage into, equal to what? 16 practices. We studied this, right? Turn to page 94 on your notes. Yeah. Okay? What are they? You want to review that? Because that's very important. That is the practice of discipline. The next is as a higher capacity or greater capacity practitioner, you have to have high discipline, okay? You have to abandon the worldly concerns of samsara. That you have to say, I disgust samsara. I've got to get out of samsara. But it's not only because of myself, okay? I will then have to think of others. And this is, think of others to what? Towards complete Buddhahood. Complete. Not half, not a quarter, okay? It's a full enlightenment. And these are the path, or this is the path of a bodhisattva, which is a Mahayana level. Okay? So, we have discussed the lower capacity before, right? We have talked about the middling capacity, and now, after little by little you're understanding, oh, I need to take refuge, I need to do this, and all these are basically preliminary practices. These are foundation. If you do not have the grasp of this, it is very confusing. You don't know where to start. You're just like, I'm not even sure even if I'm even a Buddhist. Or, like I've done this. I'm wondering if it's because what? You are not familiar with all the teachings that requires, what are these layers of understanding, what the Buddha is really referring and helping you. So that what? So that you have conviction to your practice. If no conviction, no one or one have difficulty advancing or progress. The mind is still having problems. Okay? And then if we do have problems, we lose it. We become demonic when things in our way does not, we cannot get the things we wish. And we're so depressed when we feel like we're hopeless. So then where is the Dharma there? Yeah? So, we understand that now we're going to dive into the greater capacity, okay, the training in the path. And this temple practices Mahayana practice. But if you think about it, we have the greatest grasp of the discipline? Do we have the correct discipline? Do we have the right training? Are you training? Are you meditating? Okay, remember, training in concentration. The training for discipline and morality plus meditative concentration, this too is a requirement. Because without this too, you cannot attain the other training, and that is the training in wisdom. What wisdom? You say, well, I'm intelligent. I should have wisdom. Yeah? What kind of wisdom are we talking about? The wisdom realizing emptiness. Okay. So, yes, you cannot go, these 3 higher trainings, you cannot get, it's like, well, I am so disciplined, Rakita, but forget about meditation, I have no time. I should gain wisdom because I'm intelligent. That will not happen. And you understand why meditative concentration, you require that to become disciplined. Why does people are so undisciplined? We have no focus. We cannot even keep still. We keep starting projects after projects. Like, oh, okay, this is about finished, but I'm going to start another one. Oh, I'm gonna get a new project here. I'm gonna open a new restaurant, and then after a while you say, oh, you know what? Maybe I think I'm gonna so many projects in one go. Yeah, cannot even finish anything because we cannot really concentrate in keeping and in staying on it. Yeah. Who's going to a gym here? Every day. Very good. You should already, own the gym.
No, I don't.
Yeah? There's a lot of people, like it's so excited, like my New Year's resolution, I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna go to the gym, And then, guess what? You start, one day, and then you're so perfect in the first month, and then the second month, it's like you're losing the club membership. It's like, it's getting expensive. So, I go once a week now. And then later on, you're always at home. Yeah? Yeah, because guess what? It's not because we don't need to exercise. We need to exercise, we need that. That's why you enrolled, right? And then you didn't follow. Because guess what? Do you think, is it because of what? Discipline. Right? But however, if we say, well, if this could have been shopping, I'm there every day. Yeah. Everything is discipline. Even making coffee is a discipline. You make a wrong turn, a little spoonful or less spoonful of sugar, it will taste different, and that requires discipline. I remembered my brother-in-law. I hope he will never see this video. He was so happy to make coffee for my sister, and guess what? The sugar and the salt is next to each other.
My sister made that recently, the Chinese New Year, recent Chinese New Year.
And yes, but his motivation, right? His motivation was perfect, right? And so he said, here, Annette, here's your coffee. And said, oh, thank you, Dad. Oh my goodness. Yeah, right? My sister, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah? See? You have everything correct. You have every utensils you have, but the wrong scoop. And that's a discipline. Yeah? Because I'm mindful. Yeah, okay? So, now, why do we need to be disciplined? Before I delve into this, is very important because we are now going to learn, okay? Remember on Wednesday, what did I say? We're gonna have to now learn to undo the self, the ego, right? And from this point on, these are the steps now to dissolve ego, the self, the inherent existent self, right? Okay, so the discipline, these 3 tire trainings are very important, okay, in practicing the Dharma. But what for? Why do you practice the Dharma? Why do we have to go to the temple? Is it because we have nothing else to do at home and we come here because our friends are here?
Get free meal.
You got free meal? Absolutely. I wish they have that in the gym. They will increase their membership.